Hey, it's Topher right here on Geek Public Radio, and today is the day that you cannot believe anything on the internet. So what we're going to do, we're going to tell you stuff that you should believe that we got from the internet. All right.
You're listening to the GPR podcast, where two old guys, talk about new games, movies, most things geeky, and generally be old in front of your eyes. Not cool. Now, here's Topher and Crazy Chris, being all old.
All right. So is the day that you don't believe anything, so come here and believe us.
That's right.
Because we will scour the entire internet and not know what the hell we're talking about.
It's what we do anyway. Like, the entire show is based on the premise of two old guys thinking they know what's going on, but we really don't. We are so culturally blind, it's pathetic.
Our Google foo is actually halfway decent.
It is. We're not really good at IT or doing these types of shows. You Google. I'm just really good at Googling.
I am better at the production side than I am actually standing here and talking to everybody. But you know what? That's
Listen,
the cause.
I tried to carry a show 2 episodes ago, and I don't ever want to do that again. Like, it's horrible. I have nothing prepared to talk to myself, which is usually okay because
You are not prepared.
You are not prepared. You are dead. super dead. I got to turn my laptopo down because it is loud.
You have died of dysentery.
Well, can we just talk about that for like 3 seconds? I just want to bring this up. Most of our audience is probably of the generation that grew up on Oregon Trail, right? And it was a phenomenal game.
Well, we could hope so.
Well, yeah, we could hope so. But at the same time, I don't mind our younger audiences paying attention to, because we talk about video games, current trends, things that actually matter to the younger generations too. But most modern gamers would last about 36 seconds on Oregon Trail. They'd be like, "Oh, I'm going to power game." Nope, there is no power gaming. Like, one of the most random games to ever be created, and I loved it. Like, you get like 3 minutes outside of the town and your axle broke and you can't carry your stuff. Everybody dies. Elden Ring before Elden Ring was a thing. Anyways, so yes, welcome to the show, everybody. I am Crazy Chris. With me, of course, is Topher, the magnificent paranormal hobo. We've got some cool things in store for you guys as far as news is concerned. But as he was suggesting, it is April Fool's. Now, we both determined before the show began that we were not going to pull any April Fool's jokes. We were not going to relate any type of news that we thought may, in fact, be suspect.
There's a lot of stuff that was really interesting
that we've found out is,
we don't know. Like
the sports world was like jerking me around all day, and I was really upset about it because I was like, "Oh, this is good." Nope. Everybody just being jerks about it. It was funny. Although some of the reporters for the NFL and others on Twitter got absolutely took for April Fool's jokes. And I am so happy because they are this is the honest to God's truth about media in this country and around the globe. I don't care who it is. They are so eager to be first that they do not confirm shit. Nothing. They don't confirm nothing. So when you read a story, just remember they tweeted that out without verifying it at all. They just sent that news. They sent that news out there hoping that it was right, and they got took, and they were embarrassed today, and it was hilarious. And I found it very, very funny. Although they took me a couple times too, and that wasn't very funny. That wasn't nice, guys. Anyways, that being stated, I do want to get to some more sobering news for the pop culture world. Bruce Willis has announced his retirement from acting. Some of you may or may not be fans of Bruce Willis. I've always been a fan. Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I will die on that hill. There's nothing you can do about it. But he has aphasia, which is a cognitive disorder that affects his ability, or affects anybody's ability to understand written or verbal communication, or even express those types of communications. His family did put out a release. This was a couple days ago, so this was not done today. This was done a few days ago. The family issued a statement. This is according to The Nerdy. To Bruce's amazing supporters as a family, we wanted to share that our beloved Bruce has been experiencing some health issues and has recently been diagnosed with aphasia, which is impacting his cognitive abilities. As a result of this, and with much consideration, Bruce is stepping away from the career that has meant so much to him. So obviously, much respect to Bruce Willis, understanding when it's time to call it, right, as it is right now. And I wish some of our more notable on-screen personalities would recognize when it's time to call it, when it's time to
Oh,
go
yeah.
home, right? I wish that would be a thing, that more people would do this, to have the mature, rational decision to recognize that they are not cognitively able to function in the role that they're playing. But enough about that. So our hearts are with the Willis family, to his kids, of course, and to Mr. Willis himself. Wish you very best in the future, Mr. Willis. So there's that. But speaking of more nerd news, more cool stuff, more pop culture stuff, the reboot for The Crow is finally underway. Now, this is an unfortunate reality that this story was released today.
Okay, like does it check out that this is what's going on?
It is IMDb credited. It has been verified that the Crow reboot is happening.
Right.
The only thing about this story that cannot be corroborated is that Bill Skarsgård is set to play Draven. Now, I have looked. It has been updated on IMDb, but that does not mean a whole lot, because if it's a prank, I'm assuming that this would go quite far, because those particular profiles are updated by the producers. So having the credit on the website doesn't necessarily mean that it's actually true.
Right.
It
No,
would just mean
actually,
it would just lend credence to the prank.
well, no, anybody can go on. That's the thing, is anybody could go on and make
as
changes.
long as they have the correct profile type. Yeah, absolutely.
No.
I didn't think it was self-moderated.
Yeah.
Or user moderated, I meant.
It is.
So it's the Reddit of movies.
Yeah, you can literally go out to the bottom of the thing and say, make an update or suggest an update. And if it goes along with what they've heard,
they'll approve the update.
They'll approve the update.
And
it's all automated. So that I've seen stuff pop up, like somebody like Steven was attached to a couple things rumored and never even got approached for it.
So I misspoke. It's not the Reddit of movies, it's the Wikipedia of movies. So for anybody who thinks that Wikipedia is a reliable source of information, 99% of the time it might be, but that 1% it makes you suspect. So always verify, check your sources. And if you see something that posted with sources from things like My Neighbor's Dog, that's probably not a reputable site. But anyways, I digress once again. So yeah, Bill Skarsgård, according to IGN, according to several others, Hollywood Reporter, I guess initially is the one that broke this story, which, by the way, I thought Hollywood Reporter was a tabloid. I didn't actually know that it was a reputable news source. I don't know when the transition happened or if they just took over somebody else's name, but I thought it was like TMZ and they just like reported like the juicy gossip and 90% of it was false. But apparently Hollywood Reporter dropped this today.
Well, there are reports going back to March 4th.
Yes.
So
that's why I said the reboot is happening, but the Bill Skarsgård confirmation was today. So with a grain of salt, Bill Skarsgård is set to play Draven.
Him.
I do too. I think he's a great actor.
He's a great character actor.
I agree. Well, what is The Crow? The Crow is 100% a character.
Right. But it is one of those things that you're going to catch people with the fact that they're, especially if it's their favorite thing. Like, why do you reboot it? Because it still stands on its own.
Because Hollywood's out of ideas, but yeah.
Well, that's a catch-22, because when they do produce something new and something interesting, people pan it and dump on it and don't like it and this, that, and the other. So
that's because people are impossible to please, and if you create anything with the intention to please people.
So, like, if you give them something new and something different, they pan it for being new and different, and how it is totally a horrible thing. And then they complain that they're getting too much cookie cutter stuff because that's what's selling.
Well, so, I will say this: everything, everywhere, all at once looks incredible and has been very well received. And it's not a unique concept in the feature of the multiverse.
Right.
But it is absolutely a brand new take on how a multiverse would function. So everything that I've seen about it, all the trailers that I've watched, and I haven't seen the film yet, it's literally on, it's in my top 5 of things to watch because I want to watch it because it looked incredible when I first saw it. I was like, this looks awesome. It's a brand new take. And the cool thing about it too is without pandering, it casts a strong female character and a strong Asian character without pandering. Like, it's literally a story about an Asian woman within an Asian culture. So it's just to start with, right? It checks those stupid boxes that everybody thinks are important, but it does it in a way that's not pandering, and it looks like it does it in a way that's not like just smacking you in the face with it, like trying to cram the story in there. It's just, this is what it is, and this is how the story progresses, and it has nothing to do with the fact that she's a she or that she's Asian. Like, zero. That's nothing to do with the actual story. Those just happen to be coincidences.
I watched something this week, and I know it was out a while ago. When you're speaking of like checking those boxes or whatever, the most overt show that I've seen, or movie that I've seen, that was trying to check all the boxes and trying to do all of the stuff and weaseling that into the story, and I'm not sure how, was the Nash Bridges TV movie thing that they came out with, your USA came out with, to kind of bring back Cheech and Don Johnson and all of this stuff into their familiar roles. And Cheech had gone off and opened a smoke shop and all of this stuff.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, and it was stupid.
And no, it was. But the fact that they had the trans character that they had to point out 7 times about how does it feel to be a trans cop in Florida and yada yada, in Miami, or wherever they're at.
The intentional direction.
I think they're in California. I think it's set
and
in
I've said this a million times. Having stories that involve characters that fit within a certain box or a certain window, fine. That's totally fine.
Don't beat people about the head and shoulders,
and don't cram it into a story that's popular just because people will like that. Just sounds silly to me. Like, that would be like, just to take it from another, like that would be me trying to play Ip Man. I'm a white dude. Why in the name of God would I go to a primarily Asian country and cast myself as Ip Man and try to pitch that to an Asian audience? That would be silly. That would be absolutely silly.
But the people that don't know the characters will say that that's what Iron Fist did.
Oh yeah, but
they don't know the character. Literally the character. If you follow the thing,
if you've read the comic, it actually its storyboard makes sense. Yes, how he got to that point. Yeah.
He was a rich kid who crashed and was brought up there.
Mm-hmm. And then became the Iron Fist. Right.
Yeah.
They were able to train him to do the thing. Yeah, right.
Similar to Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes was an American thing, except for I think they changed it in the movie, in the new Snake Eyes movie.
I believe so. I didn't watch it, which I watched all the G.I. Joes because they're terrible, and I was like, I gotta watch these. Like, these are part of my childhood. And that's the thing. It's like, if you slap that logo on it, well, probably watch it, because it's the Ghostbusters 2016. I watched it, instantly went, I wish I hadn't watched that. I'm going to watch Morbius, even though half the population is like, oh, I think they just have a hate on for Jared Leto personally. Honest to God, I feel like that's what it is.
Everything that I saw from the commercial, like the trailers and whatnot, made me go, that's funny.
Yeah, like it looks like a Morbius movie. Morbius is hilarious.
When when the whole thing, he's like, I'm Venom.
Right. Like, it's funny.
And he's like, what? He goes, oh, no, Dr. Morbius.
So with understanding the context of what we're talking about, just trying to stuff characters into a movie or into a well-known IP. Those were the words I'm looking for. Trying to stuff characters into a well-known IP just to give it visibility is silly, because if it deserves visibility, it will stand on its own.
Right. Like I said, with the Nash Bridges thing, like you could have not commented on that particular thing and let it just be
just let it be
a character that existed in the world.
Right.
Why bring it up and beat people with it, when if you want representation, make it normal. Right.
Normalize it. If you cast it out as being unique, then you are literally segregating it.
Yes.
Stop segregating it and just allow it to be normal.
I don't mind places have or shows having trans characters.
Not at all.
This, that, and the other.
Zero.
Don't make it a part of the show, because if it becomes that is a central line, that's not representation.
Now, telling a story about that person, fine, totally fine. telling a story about that person, like using an episode to tell a story about that person and the things that they deal with, cool. But if the story does not revolve around that person, why
Right.
are you occupying 15 minutes of my time giving me a background of a character that I'm literally just looking at going, okay, cool. Yeah, I don't care.
Right. No,
I don't
that's
care.
that's the saying. Like you have, it's inclusion if they just exist.
Right.
It's exploitation if you have to repeatedly beat people over the head with, how does it feel? And da, 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 this,
Right.
you're not there to show these as regular people. You're there to exploit them for the purpose of you to seem cool and hip and all of this other stuff.
Which brings us full circle. We're coming full circle, guys. I know we went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but it actually is all relevant because with the exploitation of these IPs comes the reason for these reboots. They are quite literally exploiting people's nostalgia,
right,
in order
and
to sell their product.
And hopefully they don't go the route that Halo went.
You know what really sucks about that is Halo is a unique IP that has only existed in video game form.
And books and comic
and
books.
books and comic books and
Like
stuff
it
like
hasn't
that.
had
Animated. It's been animated too. So
yeah.
I do apologize. So it has been animated.
Animated one. It hasn't had a live action.
Right. And they had a very unique opportunity to tell stories involving the Halo project, involving Master Chief, and involving some of the characters that we know. And they didn't. They blew it. I honestly, here's how I view this Halo series franchise, honest to God. And I promise, guys, I'll get back to the Crow in a minute. This is how I view the Halo franchise, the show. When you have such a dearth of information to create the story and you intentionally ignore it, you are Disney making Star Wars 7 through 9. That is who you are. That is what you did. You ignored the creations of every single person that paved the way for you to even be able to make the live action adaptation. You slapped the fans in the face, you pissed on their ideas, and then wonder why most people reject your show. There are people who like it. Of course, there's going to be people who like it. Not everybody's going to hate it. But if you can't have a camp of just going, meh, it was okay, then you screwed up. Honest to God, if your movie is either love it or hate it, you probably screwed up somewhere in the creation of said movie. I have had a lot of people look at me about Black Book and say, meh, it was okay. Or, man, I really didn't like it. Or, man, I loved it. It was so cool. It was literally created with the premise of you're going to like it, you're going to love it, or you're going to hate it. That's just how movies should be presented and how series should be. Walking Dead. It was great when it came out. I loved it. I don't hate it now. Meh, it's okay. And that's, oops, I keep bumping that. But it's like, meh, it's okay. It's okay. If I look at your reboot and I go, meh.
I hit a button, or somehow, magically, I don't even think I hit the thing. One of our lights just started flashing a different color.
I was wondering. I was kind of seeing something in the background and I was like, I was just trying to ignore it. But, but yeah, so what I'm hoping for with Tom, okay, so they brought Tom Holland on as one of the directors. And then Ruben Fleischer, and those are the ones that work together with obviously with Uncharted. They brought Uncharted up, right? And I thought Uncharted was done very well as a fan of the series of the IP video game, and as a fan of the story. I thought what they did was bring to life a unique character, a unique set of ideas, and they melded it really well together. It was one of the very few video game movies that I can say didn't screw it up, right? And it's not a reboot. It's not in the quote original story because they just had to, but that's how you do it. You borrow the IP that already exists, you adapt it to a screen, and you let people enjoy it. You don't just go,
I mean,
oh, my main character, blah, blah, blah. I'll just put him over here and like he'll be in 2 episodes. It's not really Halo then, is it?
Well, I
Star
have
Wars,
to say,
a rogue story.
I have to say that 2 episodes in, I'm still gonna watch it and hate it where it needs to be hated.
And it can still redeem itself. I'm being critical of the 2 episodes. It can still redeem itself.
It has to do with Master Chief. It has to do with the stuff. The setup in the background world is different. They're making it kind of like Starship Troopers.
Right.
The military is not the thing to be trusted.
Well, it never was.
No, well, I mean, in Halo, you've never had those moral things where, like,
Oh, yeah.
the industrial complex is doing this thing and yada yada yada, and all of this stuff is literally in a fight of humanity versus an outside thing,
Right.
and
Humanity versus the Covenant, or let's just be
Yeah.
Master Chief versus the Covenant. Let's just be fair. let's just call it what it was.
And they broached into other stuff, but
Yeah.
you're seeing stuff that from his childhood, and he literally had his helmet off almost the entire episode, the second episode.
So weird.
It's hard to see it as what you're used to. Like in the games, they went so hard to hide his face. Like they literally in the opening cinematics of several of the games, you have Master Chief on the little rack thing with his helmet off, and it doesn't show him.
No, it shows like his neckline. It shows like the top of his head.
And then like you see the helmet come down.
Yeah, and like the camera's like right at the bottom of the helmet. It never goes any lower. It's funny.
And then like boom, then you see his face, and it's always the helmet.
Right.
And I get it that it's hard to pull off entire shows with a dude in a helmet.
Dude, even ERB, which quite literally creates these rap battles between pop culture characters and historical figures, literally makes reference to this in the rap, okay? In which quite literally Leonidas looks at him and says, "I look you in the eyes, but you're too much of a bitch to show your face." It is literally ingrained in pop culture that Master Chief does not show his face. It's ingrained. It was quite literally when they created Master Chief, it was a take on Mandalorians. That's 100% what it was. 100%.
And now they can take their head.
Now they can just do whatever
now
they want to, because people said.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Anyways, so Crow reboot. I'm hoping that they do the thing justice, but at the same time, it doesn't necessarily need to be rebooted. I feel like there's enough source material there. The Crow is literally a superhero resurrected to fight evil, blah, 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 and he can't die. That's what I mean. He can technically, but there's every superhero has the weakness, blah blah blah. But there's enough source material there. Like, just you can keep going. Also, I don't know. Maybe just let Brandon Lee's testament of Eric Draven stay exactly where it's at, and just don't touch it.
And that's where I was going with the fact that it stands on its own.
100%. It's a pop culture classic. That's like, let's reboot Pulp Fiction. I'm serious. I mean, we're rebooting everything. We've rebooted Ghostbusters. We rebooted G.I. Joe. We rebooted everything. We rebooted The Punisher twice, 3 times.
And now in comics, he doesn't touch guns. In one run because of, he doesn't kill.
So he's Batman.
Yes.
Okay. Sure.
But not with the fancy.
You know what? That's a comic book guys episode. I don't even want to get into that because it just sounds abysmal and horrible and something I won't read. I read The Punisher because it was literally like that dark side of yourself that goes, this is how it should be done. But of course, the societal side is like, we can't do that. Like, we really can't. Like, Frank Castle's a dick. Like, you can't be Frank Castle. But the thing with these IPs is the constant and consistent reboots are ridiculous. And when you reboot cult classics, that's really dumb. Some of you out there are going, "Oh, just let people do their thing." Okay, cool. Find your favorite IP. Rebooting Monster Squad. But would you like it if they did? How about Little Shop of Horrors? Would that be cool? How about Beetlejuice? How about they reboot Beetlejuice? They take Michael Keaton away. They take, whatever, shoplifter girl. I never remember her name. Winona Ryder. Thank you. Yeah, that's right. She used to be a shoplifter. How you guys like that? She was a klepto. Anyways, Winona Ryder. You take all of those people out of that film and you just completely reboot it. How would you guys like that? Would you guys like that? You know what? I'll tell you what. Some of you animated fans out there, how about they reboot A Nightmare Before Christmas? Would you like that? This is why we get upset when they reboot things like The Crow, or why they reboot things like Ghostbusters, and why they do that. It's because you're literally taking something that doesn't need to be rebooted. Just leave it alone.
Re-release them.
Yeah, fine with that. Re-release it. I'm cool with that. I'm fine.
If you wanted to bring the property to
Make
new
a
people,
sequel of it. Fine.
if you want to bring a property to another generation, just put it back out.
Right. That's not that difficult. Disney did it for literally like 50 years.
Right. I mean, how many times did they put like
Cinderella
or Snow White or
my mom?
Sleeping
I think
Beauty?
if I'm not mistaken, I do believe my mom to this day has the original VHS, the 10th anniversary VHS, the 25th anniversary VHS and DVD combo, and then like the 35th anniversary DVD VHS Blu-ray copy. I mean, seriously. And then the digital, right? Like, believe me, Disney made an entire empire just on re-releases until Pixar came along and was like, hey, we can revolutionize the way you do animation. And they're like, holy crap, we don't have to pay actors. We can just make a bunch of money. Like, give me a break. Sorry. Oh my God, I'm on a rant tonight. I don't know what my problem is. Like, I'm on fire. Anyways, let's talk about other things that pissed me off this week. Gran Turismo 7.
See, I'm not a big fan of racing games.
I have always liked Gran Turismo. Always. The last one I played was Gran Turismo 5, which I think it was just actually called GT. I do believe it was just re-released as Gran Turismo on the PlayStation 4. And it was fun. It was cool. Updated graphics. It looked really pretty. The car mechanics were decent. They weren't phenomenal, but they were pretty decent. They never had the realistic crash physics like they should have had. Like that is 100% something that should have been included in those games. Now, not necessarily saying that just like on a starter mode or something like that should be happening. But when you play like on the pro race modes and all that stuff, heck yeah, your car should get damaged. Like, you have to pay for that. When you start making money from the races and you start placing and you're fixing your car and you can do all of these cool, minute little corrections to your vehicle to make it perform the way you want it to, which I've always enjoyed. I like that. The meticulous creation of my car doing what I want it to do. I like that. That's cool. But then when I get on the track, I can just slam into anybody I want to at about freaking 200 miles an hour
and not blow a
tire and not smash up anybody. Come on. So I guess Gran Turismo 7 took all of these cool things from GT6 and has just not done anything. They've released a full game of Gran Turismo 7 that looks incredible. It looks lifelike. It is beautiful. It really is. And when you play it, it's the exact same game with updated graphics. It's quite literally the EA. It is the Madden franchise of racing games. It's the Madden. It's become exactly what I hate, which is let's just update the mechanics. Let's update the cars. Let's update the dude. I don't want a new library. If I wanted a new library of cars, honestly, just release a DLC that has the new cars in it.
Right.
Why would you?
You don't even have to design a whole new game. You can literally
really don't
process in DLC and make money.
Honest to God, the Madden franchise after 2018 should have been Madden 19 DLC for $10, Madden 20 DLC. It's because it's the same exact graphics. Nothing's different. Oh my God, it looks a little bit more real. Look, their eyebrows raised. Ooh, like, are you kidding me, guys? Like but people still will hemorrhage their life savings on these stupid games. And they keep doing it.
I was that way with Call of Duty.
Me too.
And
but here's the thing with Call of Duty.
I still got a Vanguard for Christmas.
Oh, you mean the newer Call of Duties?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like up until like I didn't. There's several of them that I didn't get that I haven't went out and purchased or I didn't ask for them. You know.
Yeah.
I have family members that know that I at one time I liked those.
Yeah, I did too.
And so they
100%.
still, hey, have you got it yet? No. Well, here, Merry Christmas.
Nice.
And I haven't even played it yet.
I've got, I believe Black Ops 4 was the last one that I played on a consistent basis. And I played Warzone. I've played Cold War. I played those. But with the Call of Duty
I haven't
games,
even played anything past Black Ops 1.
They had they had three different studios creating these games. So you had your standard Modern Warfare entries, right? And then you had your Black Ops entries, and then you had just the random off entries, which totally fine. It works because each game might have been like a little bit of an update, but there were 3 years in between modern entries. So you're not getting another Black Ops entry for 3 years. You're not getting Black Ops 4 until 3 years after 3 is finished. And they would still release DLC. They would still update maps. They would still do things like that for the game, which still kept it relevant. And a lot of us would find whichever one of the 3, like Advanced Warfare, Ghosts, stuff like that, whichever one of those 3 that we wanted to play, that's what we would play. And it was usually the most recent one, Advanced Warfare, for a while, which, by the way, I think was far superior than people gave it credit for. What happened was people who are used to looking on a horizontal playing field all of a sudden had to use 360-degree vision, and then they started
to look up.
Right, and then they started sucking, and they didn't like it because all of a sudden I can bounce, stab. And because you're not actually a good shot, you couldn't hit me. I wrecked in Advanced Warfare. I had so much fun playing that game.
Well, now you have all the parachuting stuff and doing all of the things. So you can literally land on a building, loot the tops and through the thing, jump off, land in a window.
Yeah, which is great because it kind of took those movement mechanics and made it more streamlined. But the thing is, it made it more realistic. Okay, because you definitely fell 150 feet without a parachute landing on a building. You're totally cool. They didn't break your legs when you went through that window, and you definitely didn't get cut at all. That did not happen, I promise. But anyways, I digress. So yeah, Gran Turismo 7, just another poo-poo entry on the let's just keep rehashing the same material over and over again. I think that's what we're going to call it. We're just going to call this episode Rehash. And speaking of rehash, new ideas and things that started out hot. God damn it, New World. Why? You had one job. Hold on.
They started off so well. Like,
you were the chosen one. You were supposed to upset World of Warcraft, not join them. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, like their reactions to things caused the spiral. And started shedding, but so they shut down, they had people gold spam. They found gold glitches and found people that were messing with that. So instead of working on that, they just shut that whole system down.
Yeah.
Which meant that whoever's in charge, you kept making money. You kept you bringing in whatever, but you couldn't put it back in the city. So the city started to degrade. And the people taking care of them started to, just not be able to make the money in to put it back in the thing because they couldn't pull the money out. They couldn't put the money back in. They couldn't do any of that stuff. You have the people who waited and just build up the money. Finally, that when they said, okay, everything's back on, they went through and bum rushed.
Yep. And crashed the entire economy.
Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Took over entire servers, one side literally took over entire servers.
Yep.
And jacked everything up, did everything up, all of this stuff to where it's not even fun. I log into a couple things and it's I don't really want to.
No, and that's the sadness of it is they listened to a community. And here's the thing, game developers, if you guys are even paying attention to us, which you may not. You don't have to take every suggestion. You literally don't. Sometimes the suggestions that you get, while they sound good, are absolutely stupid. They're dumb on their face.
Well, I don't think anybody suggested to really just
Well, no, I guarantee I guarantee people were complaining about the gold situation.
Well, no,
I guarantee it. And they were crying, they were whining, and I get it. It's unfair. I'm not saying that it wasn't fair. I'm not saying that it was fair. I'm saying that the reaction to those things was so bad that they could have just stopped and said, okay, this is an issue. We understand it's an issue. We're working to fix it, but we're not just going to cut it off. We can't do that because this is already started. It's already in motion. Us throwing a brick on the train tracks isn't going to fix the train. It's literally just going to derail it.
Well, you like I said, but it wasn't just one thing. You had
an Ian moment.
You have the hatchet glitch that You become you do all of this mega, like awesome damage and whatnot. All you have to do is wield a hatchet and do this. You have the roll glitches to where as long as you're rolling, you don't take damage.
Right. The
So
invincibility roll.
yeah, so you can literally just roll, hit, boom, 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 do all of this stuff and not die.
Which I've said this about every game that includes a roll mechanic. I understand there needs to be a way to dodge, but it's literally the stupidest thing in the world to give somebody invincibility frames when they roll, because I'm going to tell you in real life how that would occur. When somebody swings their sword, if it makes contact with you while you're rolling, you die.
Yeah.
It will cut you in half. You dead. You dead. Bye. You are dead. So to see that in like Elden Ring where people are like, haha, roll, haha, roll, haha, roll, haha, roll. That's not how it works. It's not how it's ever worked. Never.
But yeah, that's the thing is like, so you have all of these things that are just coming out and hitting people.
Dodge mechanic, fine. Roll mechanic, dumb.
It became that nobody, to go out and do the PvP was literally, you had all of these hatchet guys on one side, the roll guys on the other side, and they were all trying to fight each other, and nobody was doing whatever. And anybody who came in to actually play the game
had no idea what was happening. They just thought they were watching a 007 server
and got chewed up because they didn't have the hatchet. They were trying to sit back with muskets and shoot people.
It's literally slappers versus odd job. That's literally what was happening. Oh my God. I'm just picturing logging into the server and you're just watching hundreds of people in this town, and there's a whole bunch of guys right, and then there's and you just seen a blur of motion as they run back and forth, and like they're trying to hit each other and they can't.
So like it gets to the point where it got to the point where the whole it started out as a PvP game. PvEers were like, hey,
PvEVP. It's really what it was. It's PvEVP. It's player versus PvPvE. So the primary objective was the player versus player because they had the faction bases,
right?
Which is what it's supposed to be, but you still had to contend with your environment in order to build those resources to contend.
But you didn't. It was a PvP concept. It was all PvP all the time. And then the people, because when I first played the beta, you were flagged, all the time.
Oh no, okay, I see what you're saying.
And now and then those of us who don't like PvP was like, hey, we would like, so they cut out a big section of the game and put in this whole thing, and didn't have a complete storyline. It didn't have, they basically threw dungeons in and this, that, and the other, and and
it was literally supposed to be a group type game too.
Yeah,
it took the things that Fallout 76 was supposed to be, in my opinion, it did it correctly, because with your friend, you could actually, 4 of us could beat one guy. We could actually, like, he didn't have to hit us to trigger it. We could literally just all attack him, because that's what it was.
Right.
And that's what it should have been. And then we could all work together harmoniously to accomplish that goal. Now,
which is what the factions were intended to do.
Right.
Give you, you have your faction, then you have your company in the faction that is your guild, and you can get all your stuff, and you're supposed, getting everybody on the same page and getting everybody out to play, and that was the goal. But it almost felt like Amazon had another game coming up in the pipes, and they just kind of put this one out there. They got it going, and then said, okay, well, you guys handle this. I'm going to take a few of your other guys, and we're going to work on Lost Ark.
Which is very possible. And they'd ruin that too, by the way. But that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, now that you have the people spending thousands and thousands of dollars for all of this stuff, and it's literally a pay to win game.
It is. Couple other things before we start wrapping stuff up, get to our sponsors and all that crazy stuff. If you guys haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to the video, ring-a-lingy-dingy the belly button to make sure you're notified every single time that we go live, all that good stuff. So I haven't said it yet, but make sure like and subscribe. That's not an April Fool's joke. We will be here next week as well. That's also not an April Fool's joke. So when you hear those things, we're not joking with you. Okay. And these things that we're saying today, they're not jokes. We told you at the very beginning of the show, we were not going to be doing April Fool's jokes. So WWE 2K 22 came out, and notably lots and lots of wrestlers are not on that roster. And it's because in 2021, early 2022, WWE was like, hey, we're going to purge about 200 wrestlers from our roster. And they did. And so there's some notable names that are missing from the 2K22 roster, which doesn't necessarily make it an inferior game because it does look pretty. And I guess the story modes and stuff are pretty cool. The mechanics of the game itself, I got to play a little bit of a demo of it. The mechanics themselves are actually pretty good. Pretty responsive controls, things like that. So it's handled really well. It's just when I play a wrestling game, I'm going to play as my favorite.
Right.
Like it's cool that I get to customize and build my own wrestler. I love that. That's neat. But when I just want to stomp somebody's face in, I'm going to grab the Undertaker and go. Right. I don't need Brock
Well, that
Lesnar.
should be like, that should be
just silly.
Even though he's retired, you should be able to unlock that.
Apparently he's still on the roster. So he's still there. But there were some other names like Bray Wyatt was on the roster in 2021. Yes, he was released, but he was still on the roster, which means that when they were in the process of making this game, I should have been able to play as the Fiend.
See, I like his
super fun character.
original. I like the not the original.
No, you don't like Husky Harris.
No,
you don't like Husky Harris.
No,
Bray Wyatt,
the
Swamp Man.
The
Louisiana Swamp Man.
The voodoo.
Yeah, sister Abigail and all that stuff. Yeah, I personally, I love the Fiend. I thought that was like one of the coolest stories that they did because it
felt like a throwback to Mankind.
But it was, but at the same time, it did this hilarious thing where it
like
didn't make you suspend your disbelief. Like you knew it was baloney, you knew it was nonsense, but at the same time, it was so entertaining that you would forget that it was fake.
Because you got like the Blues Clues,
which I guess is technically what suspension of disbelief is, but regardless.
Yeah, you had the children's show host and the Fiend, and it felt like
I thought it was hilarious.
Mankind or Foley and Mankind,
and it did, but at the same time, it was still unique in the way that it presented itself, which I thought was cool. But yeah, so 2K22 for a lot of people, I've seen a lot of the complaints online, and it just feels like an incomplete game. Most of the criticism is just directed. It just feels not like a WWE game. It's the primary stars. It doesn't have a lot of the up and comers. Some of the guys from ECW, some of the guys from the indies and stuff like that are not on. They're from their developmental, which now the name is just eluding me.
NXT.
Thank you. So the NXT crowd, some of the NXT wrestlers aren't there.
I don't even watch it. How did I know that?
Because I have so many other things that are flashing in front of me right now that I just totally drew a blank. But yeah, so just that's pretty much my major criticism for the night. So obviously we got the Bruce Willis retirement announcement. We've got the criticism for the Crow reboot, just reboots in general, and just Hollywood just doing stupid Hollywood nonsensey things. We have, of course, the New World taking a crap. Gran Turismo 7 just not living up to the hype.
Now let's end on the one thing that I'm not 100% sure is a joke.
Okay.
It may be because it did come out like 6-7 hours ago. But 343, I think is the name of the studio that does
343 Studios. Yep.
Yeah. Said that they're going to start incorporating stuff in DLC stuff for Infinite from the TV series. Okay. Which I look at it and go, that has to be a joke, yada yada yada, with everybody shitting on the thing. But
I don't know.
They're really backing the series.
Yeah. So very very carefully. I don't know. A couple of it's weird.
So I have no idea. Like, what would they incorporate other than the fact that they go into planets that are like deep cuts for Halo people, like they've only come out in books or they're only mentioned in this.
Maybe like flashback DLCs or something. I don't know.
New planet maps for whatever that one Rust planet that was in the first one. I can't remember. It starts with M.
I don't know. Like a couple of quick tidbits of news. Because I have nothing for that. Like zero. I got nothing. I have nowhere to go.
No, that's what I'm saying. I just wanted to throw that there. I don't know if it was a thing. If it was a New Year's joke or not New Year's, but an April Fool's joke.
Let's just say that it is.
And
please,
please
be a joke.
I mean, because that could be a death of a whole franchise that spanned decades.
Yeah, that would be. Let's just not do that. Let's not do that. Come on, guys. We're better than this. Please be better than this. A couple of things real quick. So Double 11 Studios is actually going to be working on the some of the extra DLC stuff for Fallout 76. So that's pretty cool.
Nice.
And apparently some of the Microsoft, some of the Minecraft developers are going to be working on this because Microsoft obviously owns Minecraft. So some of the developers from that are going to be working on some of the DLC stuff for that as well. So they got a couple new studios coming in. Yep.
Cooler things. Like
Yeah.
I'm already digging. Like, you know, you mentioned.
I told you once you get into it, you're going to love it. I told you would. Most people do now with everything that they have with it now. If you start now, it is an entertaining game. A lot of the players are the old bitter players. We're the old and bitter because we remember what it was like, and you new players are spoiled and we hate you.
Well, see the thing, like I mentioned last week, like I've never gotten like a bad whatever because it's like everybody's dropping stuff off.
Well,
You know, all over the servers that I see when I pop in, you have public groups being formed. Like
you'll find them. I'm
5,
telling you, once you hit
7.
that level 100 mark, man, people are going to start being a jerk to you because they're like, "Oh, you shouldn't." That's how they're going to behave.
But see, that's
how
the
we
thing
behave.
that I see. That's the thing that I miss though, because I am the low level newbie guy. So everything that the for like the dailies, go complete a thing. I'm not level 25. I'm not level 50. I'm not level whatever
Right.
that I need to be to do this. So I'm going in and dying 175,000 times trying to get this stuff done.
It's not fun.
And I'm not being able to group up with anybody because they're all higher level.
The minute that you join their team, they're like, no, go away.
You know, it's like, hey, well, we got to do this and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, cool, I'm going to be not high enough level to go do that. So I'll just bow out now.
Yeah. See you
Well,
guys
we
later.
can take you along. We can do whatever. I was like, no, I'll see you in another 25 levels.
Right. So that's some interesting, cool stuff for 76 fans out there. So for all my 76 fans out there, some new stuff's supposed to be coming. So hopefully that's cool. And they did release an April Fool's joke in the game. I thought it was pretty funny.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. So the holiday scorched her back. So that like you have to go kill holiday scorched.
I did that yesterday. Funny, That was what I was doing yesterday.
Yep. Till April 4th. So Flat Kingdom Paper Cut Edition comes out today. Terrorbane for the Switch came out today. April 5th, something to look forward to. So excited stuff. Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga is actually going to be out for PS5, Xbox Series X, PS4, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's April 5th. For those RPG fans out there, Chrono Cross, the Dreamers Edition is going to be coming out April 7th, right before my birthday. Yay. And on my birthday, Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp is coming out. I love the Advance Wars series. It is so fun.
I am speaking
Super
of your
jazzed
birthday. I am surprised that you've held off this long.
On what?
Tiny Tina's.
I don't want to talk about it right now. Okay. Last week I was going to pick it up, but I had some deadlines that I had to make and I made sacrifices. I don't want to talk about it, but just know that
because I was half tempted to like grab it.
I would have killed you.
And played it.
I would have killed you
because I figured you'd already had it. That's why.
I'll kill you. But Letters from Marshall. The good news is Letters from Marshalltown is right there.
Yeah,
we're in the finishing phases, and it's
it should be out. Baby. We should have it up.
We
should have it up for Amazon and Barnes and Noble and a couple other places by this time next week.
See,
fingers crossed.
That's the goal. Deadline got pushed a little bit further back than we thought because we noticed
shooting
some things
for tomorrow.
Yep, we noticed some things, and we're like, we're not going to rush out a product. We want it to be right. We want it to be good. So around about on my birthday is when it's going to be coming out. I'm very excited about that. So for those of you out there in lovely land that have seen and heard about all these cool games that we're talking about, if you would like to get your piece of some of these games, some of this game action, make sure you check out humblebundle.com. The link is in the description below. We can actually provide you access to some of the coolest games that are available in a very discounted type of format. So you can actually download these games for your own use and pleasure. And just not video games either. So you can get books, you can get sit-down type games like Pathfinder, things like that. And
courses,
also
there's entire courses.
Yeah, there's entire courses, languages, things like that. So there's all kinds of things. If you've got a niche, I promise you Humble Bundle will satisfy that itch. So you guys can check that out at the link in the description down below. And of course, make sure you guys check out the Ukrainian bundle, which actually 100% of those proceeds none of it even goes to us. It all 100% goes to Ukrainian relief efforts. They've raised a lot of money for this already. They have been an incredible sponsor. We're extremely happy that we have been able to utilize their services and bring their product to your attention. So if you guys are looking for some type of game action for a reduced rate, you guys can check out the Humble Bundle link down in the description below. And anything other than Ukrainian bundle, every little bit actually helps us out as well. So make sure you click on the link and tell them that the guys from Geek Public Radio sent you. I'm sure they will be ecstatic to hear that. And of course, make sure you go to theblackbook.com. Go to blackbookmovie.com, and you can find your very own copy of the award-winning film by the director in front of me, Mr. Topher Chambers. The Black Book is available on DVD and Blu-ray, and of course, you can find it on Amazon by looking it up by its name, The Black Book. You can find your paperback copy. We've got a hardback copy coming soon. I promise I speak English.
It is up and ready for you to purchase.
Oh, the hardback is ready. So there we go. Excellent. So the hardback copy is also ready, but you guys can find that at blackbookmovie.com. The Audible is available as well. So if you enjoy my silky, smooth, seductive voice and you would like me to lull you to sleep every single night with the chilling stories involved with the Black Book, make sure you go and check out the Audible. And of course, the Black Book comic. There's first issue is done. It is ready. It is awesome. So go to blackbookcomic.com and you guys can get your very own copy. It is ready to roll out. We have very excited about it. The art style, the storyboards, everything about this is so freaking cool. I am so happy that Topher and those artists were able to get this done for us. It is such a cool thing. So make sure you go to theblackbookcomic.com and get your copy today. And of course, everybody, Rutledge Productions, guys, we thank you so very much for continuing to sponsor the show. Even though we make fun of you on a regular basis, we still love you very, very much, and we would not be here without you. So Rutledge Productions, guys, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. If you guys would like to know anything else about them, make sure you go to rutledgeproductions.com. You can find them in the little linky in the description that at the bottom of the screen there. rutledgeproductions.com, bringing you great classic movies such as The Black Book. Award-winning film. Did I say that already? I did. I'll say it again. It's an award-winning film. Listen, if other people can whisper in the microphone and it be effective, I'm going to start whispering in the microphone because apparently that's the way we communicate with people now.
All right.
I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. I'm trying to justify my weird whispering. Leave me alone. Okay. I believe that will probably do it for our show tonight. I think.
Yeah. No.
Did I get all the sponsors?
Yeah.
I'm all right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I did it. Yeah.
But
Victory lap.
we will be here, same bat time, same bat channel next week, right here
on geekpublicradio.com. Make sure you check us out on YouTube, Twitch, wherever else you guys get your podcasts. We are available on Spotify as well. I have been Senior Crazy Chris.
I'm Topher.
And we will see you guys next time.
You've been listening to the GPR podcast, where two old guys talk about old. Talk about new games, movies, most things geeky, and try not to poop in their diapers while they're talking. Thanks for listening to the show. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on Twitter at Free Geek Radio, on Facebook and Instagram at Geek Public Radio, and the website geekpublicradio.com. We'll see you next time.